Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I will be discussing planning for effective communication. So, the first thing we need to discuss was the 4 to 5 best practices for effective communication between project team members, and that's something I've been really working on in the past couple years as a teacher and as a new teacher. So, first, a compelling way to create effective communication between faculty members would be to build relationships with them, both inside and outside of school. This is an opportunity to share best practices with each other and get to know and understand one another on a professional and personal level. I've had a lot of experience doing this, again, both academically and on a personal level. It really makes understanding people and having them understand you much easier. Relationships can make one another comfortable with each other in such a way that a person feels safe enough to share their ideas and critique others while discussing the curriculum. The second practice for effective communication would be could be when the project was first started. We can discuss what everyone's goals are for the curriculum are. When everyone is on the same page of what wants to be accomplished, it's easier to find a common way to get there, and then and that way no one can like step on each other's toes, and then we can really decide, okay, like what do we want to get out of this, and how are we going to get there. Another practice that can follow effective communication is to divide portions of the curriculum and assign them to staff members. Many staff members are experts at one thing over another, or they have very good lessons or activities for one subject or portion of the curriculum over another. So I think if they can be portioned up at first, it can create less conflict overall for the actual curriculum and getting things done. Portions can be divided in different ways. They can be divided by sections, divided by assignment, by topic, by type of assignment, such as essays in class that are assigned, or like presentations to another teacher. So it can be divided all different kinds of ways. It kind of just depends on what the strengths of that staff member is and what the curriculum needs. And then lastly, another practice that could be effective is a reflective method. I find that reflecting as a teacher is really helpful and can help get conflicts out of the way or resolve conflicts easier. Now, I understand a lot of teachers don't want to reflect, but I think that's something that kind of has to be established first as a team and then used at the end of or not even at the end of the planning, but throughout the planning. So for reflection, staff members, there will be staff members that have taught the curriculum before, so it would be nice for them to reflect for the new members that have not taught the curriculum before, so they can reflect on what was good for them, what was bad for them, and what can be used again. There's always room for improvement with lessons, so it might be beneficial to reflect on those practices that have been proved the most successful. In this way of communication, staff members can pick and choose which lessons should be kept and which should be revised, and hopefully that will minimize the conflict. So the next part, effective communication, that can be difficult in higher education for a lot of different reasons. One is that teachers spend a lot of time working on their own classes or projects, which doesn't leave a lot of time for communication with colleagues. When one's doing a bunch of different tasks, or they have a bunch of different things going on at once, both in academic and a professional manner, it's difficult to interact with other colleagues on a day-to-day basis. So you can email them or you can call them, but overall face-to-face, it's really hard to do something every single day. Another reason that communication might be difficult is that many institutions, meaning higher education, college level institutions, or I guess even high school level as well, many institutions encourage competition rather than collaboration among staff members. So a lot of schools, a lot of teachers are there to complete research or to do projects that are a part of their that are not a part of their teaching. So that can make it difficult for them to want to collaborate with other staff members. And it creates a more competitive environment because it puts one staff member's work against another for rewards or a critique from students or from the institution itself. And lastly, ways that we can de-escalate a situation when a disagreement occurs. That can be difficult. It can be difficult when one is in a position where a disagreement occurs. I haven't had much experience in this area in terms of staff to staff contact with each other. But what I find most effective is for both parties to calmly explain their side of the argument, or whatever point they are trying to make with no interruption. So, for example, this past year, my school, which I work at a high school, was completing their WASC. So we had a lot of things that we needed to discuss thoroughly as a staff and our administrative team. So we had a lot of big staff meetings about it where people sometimes would get heated and sometimes wouldn't comply with everyone else. So the big thing that we did was calmly explain to each other, which made for really long meetings, but overall I think that was very helpful than just to blow up on each other and not really hear the other side of the argument. So each member, a part of the disagreement, can do that. Then the other members of the group can also have their opinions heard on what's the best course of action to take. I also think this process goes a lot more smoothly if the relationships of those people were built first. So it can't just be people that are talking to people that they don't really know or understand. So again, going back to one of my first points, building a relationship from an academic, professional, and personal standpoint, I think would really help de-escalate a situation before it can even so do those things before a situation so a situation can be solved quickly and the most effectively. So that's all I have for planning for effective communication. Thank you.